Good morning. Today we're going to learn a short relaxation practice. It will involve the manipulation of the breath, in particular slowing down the breath, having a deeper inhalation and exhalation, a fuller inhalation and exhalation, and doing so in a way that has a structure to it. And I'm outlining a box because this practice is known as box breathing, and that image can be helpful for remembering and even pacing oneself. Now, let me share a couple things at the very outset. Mindfulness practices are not so much about relaxing as they are about being aware of what's taking place. And if what's taking place in a given moment is particularly unsettling, then one would be feeling a little bit unsettled. And that would be what it would be to be mindfully aware and present. The gift of mindfulness is that by being more aware of what's actually happening, even if it's unpleasant, unsettling, we're less likely to be telling stories about what's happening that make it even more unsettling and unpleasant. And many mindfulness practices begin with a few slower, deeper breaths because it can be helpful to seeing things more clearly and not exaggerating what's taking place, to feel a little bit more steady and relaxed. Here we're going to be focusing on the relaxation piece and the calming down piece using the breath. And I'll share with you that in doing that, we also are focusing our attention to remember to do what we're doing and to keep with the count. And so there's also the focusing and the concentration of attention here. So while this is primarily a relaxation practice, we're also developing some of the very important skills that can be helpful for staying focused, to be less lost in mind wandering. So, as I indicated, this practice is known as box breathing. Now, there's many ways of slowing down or changing the breath to feel different ways. And in fact, if you were to notice your breathing during the day, it's always changing. Sometimes it's becoming a little slower and smoother, usually when you're feeling more relaxed and calm. Sometimes it gets a little bit more shallow and choppy, usually when we're excited or worried. So here we are saying, rather than have my breathing be affected by what's taking place around me or even within me, I'm going to sort of take control of my breathing to help affect how I'm feeling, even if for a few moments. And that's what this practice is. So I'm going to describe it, I'm going to demonstrate it, and then I'm going to guide you through it a couple of times. And we'll pause in between the two times so that you can take a moment and see what it feels like. And then when we close, I'll share with you some tips. So, box breathing. We're going to breathe into the count of 5. Now that number, you can change it, and you can have a slower 5 or a faster 5. So ultimately, this is your practice, but I'll guide it with a certain tempo so you can get an example. We're going to breathe into the count of 5. We're going to hold our breath to the count of 5. We're going to exhale to the count of 5. And we're going to hold our breath to the count of 5. And then do it again. Now, a little something about the inhaling and the exhaling, the breathing in and breathing out. If you're able to, breathe in through the nose. And if you're able to and it's comfortable, breathe out through the mouth as if blowing through a straw. More important than whether you're breathing in through the nose or the mouth or out through the nose or the mouth is a tempered, even, steady flow. And when we breathe out like we're blowing through a straw, it's more controlled, it's more sustained, it's more even, as opposed to where it comes out sort of all at once. And there's reasons why that's not so useful in terms of the benefits of this practice. So it looks like this. And then we would do it again. So I'm going to guide you through it. Now I'm going to say inhale, and that will be the 1 count. And I'm going to say hold, and that will be the 2 count, at the 1 count. So you'll see how the counting is meant to keep to the count of 5. So we breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, breathe naturally. Let the breathing return to its regular rhythm, whatever that may be in this moment. And that's doing one cycle of box breathing to the count of 5. Now, as I mentioned, you might find that you would have liked to have gone a little more, like if I could have counted to 6 or 7, and there's great value in that as well. So when you do this on your own, you decide how slow to practice. Somewhat importantly, at least for this practice, we're keeping the count the same throughout all 4 portions. But there are other practices where you would change it for different reasons, and I'll share in another morning cup of Zen another breathing practice. So let's do it again. This time I'm going to go maybe just a little bit slower, but be good to yourself. So getting ready. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holding, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holding, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holding, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holding, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then resuming your natural breathing. You probably are noticing a little bit of a shift in the direction of calming or feeling a little bit more relaxed. And this is somewhat reliable. Now, if you're feeling really anxious, really upset, and it's really taking hold, this anxiety, it can be challenging to do a practice like this because in many ways you're fighting against the current of your own breathing, and we're not interested in fighting against anything. But more often than not, I think you'll find that taking a slower, deeper breath, like in this form, can be helpful. Now, a couple of things. One is that if you wait just for those moments, it can be challenging to bring in a practice that you haven't been practicing. And also, I think it's nice to do this on a regular basis because it's almost like during the day we're one of those dolls that just keep getting wound up, wound up, wound up. And when we do a practice like this, or other things that can be helpful for relaxing and recharging, it's like pushing that button that sort of unwinds the spring a little bit. So for example, you might want to try setting your alarm for the top of every hour or some periodic time during the day. And when you hear that alarm or when you see a note that you leave for yourself, to practice twice. So it's all of a minute, if that, and it's on the hour. And you see how you almost can reset yourself a little bit during the day. And then when the moments are particularly or you begin to notice and feel it, you can draw upon this type of a breathing count to be effective for feeling a little bit more relaxed. Now, I encourage you to try box breathing, and I encourage you to find a count that's useful to you. I also want to, more than anything, encourage you to take a little bit of time every now and again to take a few slower, deeper breaths. And even if it's like this, let's close with one together. Breathing in and breathing out. Well, that wasn't box breathing so much, right? That was like maybe 5, 2, 5, 2, right? It was employing that slower, more deliberate, fuller breath, which can be so useful. All right, I hope you find this helpful, and I wish you a very good day.